I am the contrarian, and this is my world. They say when something is the hottest category of technology, there are tick marks that it must have. Wearable technology, and especially biosensor technology, has that. First, it'll always be called the hottest. Second, millions of companies will get into it. Third, the analysts will call it $1 trillion industry. Fourth, people will be buying it outright and waiting for the next one. And the most important one that comes up out here is the fact that there'll be a new announcement of a new piece of wearable technology every few hours. Thus, wearable technology is the hottest category. But there are too many red flags along with this, and that never happens. So is it a fad? Is this something that is going to completely die out in the next few years? Well, Abhinav joins me, and Abhinav, the cool part of it is that you and me sit out here, and I'm wearing wearable technology. Are you?
I'm not.
So, I mean, should we trade places? I mean, this is almost ironical that I am the one who's saying that wearable technology has all the good things happening that any hot category should, but the red flags are too many.
When I look at wearable technologies today, the biggest use case of that is sports and fitness. Essentially, people are measuring themselves, people are looking at how they measure when they are actually doing some activities and so on and so forth. But as we move along, right, it's maturing, the technology is maturing, and biosensing is coming in place, right? So when you marry biosensing and wearable together.
So, I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to interrupt you, but biosensing, define it for the audience.
So biosensing is when a piece of equipment is measuring certain vital statistics of your body, be it heart rate, be it oxygen in your body, be it things like glucose level and so on and so forth. Those technologies that are doing that is called biosensing. So when you marry biosensing and wearables together, then you basically are entering the realm of healthcare. And healthcare is something which is very close to each one of us, and it requires a lot of changes. Now, with information being available to you, you can actually convert it from a reactive, taking care of your body to a proactive, interventions.
Usually when very hot technology, a category that everybody's talking about, it's making headlines every day, new things are being introduced, comes about, it usually is fairly evolved. It does excite the senses, but when you actually buy it and use it, you are very satisfied. Wearable technology and biosensor technology seems to be half-baked. Do you believe that this could be the problem with wearable technology and biosensors, that it may be great technology, it's just been rushed to market because too many companies want to get into it, and the use case is extremely poor, which is why the red flags are so many. From battery technology, Google Glass, the one that I have actually used didn't last me more than 2 hours, okay? Almost everything, including the Oculus Rift, which is supposed to be the next biggest thing in wearable tech, has battery problems as one of them, right? Or the sensors are not actually active enough and accurate enough. Rushing it is killing it?
So essentially, if you look at anything that comes into the market, right, there are certain early adopters, and there are companies which are bringing out the technology and wanting to monetize it as early as is possible, right? So what you're seeing right now is probably only 0.5% or 1% of the total addressable market actually picking it up.
But that's where the problem is. Because of the way technology works today, the hype and the buzz is killing current products.
What needs to be done for this technology is three levers have to be correctly aligned, which is, one is functionality, the second is reliability, and the third is convenience. So today, functionality is there. The reliability...
Functionality is there?
Functionality
Tell me of a device
measuring.
that you've worn that you've been satisfied with functionality.
Functionality in the sense it is measuring what it is measuring. So things are getting in place. You're right that there is the expectation was higher, but now things, with investments, and let me tell you, the investments to the tune of $250 million have been made in 2013, which are 5 times of what was, put in 2011, right? So these investments are going into creating these use cases and ensuring that value is given to the consumer.
Are people already starting to realize that a fitness band is not such a great deal, or the sensors in a fitness band are not up to the mark? Samsung comes up with a phone with a heartbeat sensor.
Sure.
Except that you have to stop, put your finger or hand onto it and wait for it to sense your heartbeat. That is what I can do with my own finger and a stopwatch and just my own pulse. Isn't this actually fooling the customer? Is the hype and buzz and sound and noise around wearable tech, especially biosensor wearable tech, too much?
So the hype is quite a lot. And that is one of the reasons that the consumer is not continuing with it beyond a certain time, like you said, 4 weeks, 6 months, and so on and so forth. Now, the investors are also realizing it, and therefore, what they're doing is they're trying to ensure that the investments, the next set of investments are getting made behind companies which focus on functionality, which focus on reliability, and which focus on the convenience of using this technology.
Even if companies do it well, come down to the classic argument that is always given and one that I'm a great advocate of. Are we ready for all the data and information that is pouring out of these devices at a consumer level? Remember, this is not data that has not been available to mankind.
Sure.
It has been kept away from mankind maybe for a reason.
Sure.
That you're not mature enough to know
Sure.
why things are going wrong with you. And you may take, the old word that you and me always use, cyberchondriacs are now, the population is exploding with them.
Right.
Self-diagnosis due to data that has come up from a trinket, literally,
Right.
could be the most dangerous thing in the future.
Very recently, there was a very important announcement, and I believe that is one of the things which will actually change the path this wearable and healthcare is taking, which is of Apple going ahead and saying that they are going to they have actually announced a mobile app and a mobile kit. What the mobile app does is it basically takes the data from every and any device which will connect to it, and it can store on your device, on your smartphone, on your Apple, right? And you can, on the other side, have providers who can do an analysis of that, or healthcare professionals who can have their own applications, or who can hook up to this data which is there on your smartphone, and they can then provide analysis and help you with your condition.
Correct.
Right? So this disruption you will see in the next 3 to 6 months.
So two things come up from what you just said. One, typically then this is an apple a day will keep the doctor away if this health kit actually works. But the biggest problem I have with what you've said is, again, fantasy. You only constantly, in the amount of time you and I have spoken, you've only spoken about one day in the future. I've kind of seen this, it'll show me this. This has been the greatest problem with all wearable tech, and especially biosensor.
See, one of the biggest problems when you marry something which is, which has been available into technology which is new, and especially when it comes, around healthcare, is regulation. The amount of regulatory requirements which are getting, coming into the way is huge, right?
But a lot of companies have been able to circumvent that by not doing it in the US and starting off elsewhere and then coming into the market that is by far the most regulated medically,
But
right?
not too many markets can afford this technology at this point in time. So the momentum and the size that this technology requires to really mature has not yet been reached.
So let's get down to quick fire. I mean, end of the day, what we're really saying is you've painted a brilliant picture on wearable tech and biosensors, as always, for the future. Let's talk quick fire for now. How many wearable pieces of technology have you used, even if you've used it only for 10 minutes?
Three.
3 or 4?
Yeah.
Okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, rate all 3.
I was pretty satisfied with the Fitbit, the one which you're wearing right now. My father is using it because he had some episode.
And you're not wearing it. That satisfied with it?
No, I told you, right? My father had a episode.
Okay,
and
so you've
he's
given it to
using
him.
it.
Okay,
I've
all right,
asked
that's
for
one.
another one to come.
Okay.
That was pretty good. I used a Misfit
Shine. Okay.
Yeah, for a very brief period. That again was a pretty brilliant piece of technology. I thought
And you're
they
still
had
not
it
using
covered.
it?
No, it was not mine. I just used it for somebody else.
Okay. Do you think you're qualified for about 1 million pieces of data pouring out of your body that you will be able to self-analyze?
That's exactly what I'm saying. Self-analysis is not going to work.
But
that is
won't
why
it?
an
But
ecosystem.
won't it? I mean, truly speaking, software, hardware, consumer, that is the promise of wearable tech, that you will get your data. Now, that data going to a doctor into a country like India, where more data will go to doctors. I mean, you can't even get an appointment with the doctor at the right time. Imagine in that scenario, data going to a doctor. They'll just ignore it.
So you said hardware, software, right? So the software will
take care
also
of
be
it.
doing
Till
some
now
initial analysis.
But till now, we've seen every company's copped out and just given us beautiful looking charts, graphs, and bars.
Right.
Nothing else. I mean, if I look at the amount of data that pours out of a basis band, my mind is the first thing that needs wearable tech. Because I am constantly like, what do I do with it? Why did I sweat so much? Why did my body galvanized temperature go up? Why is my heartbeat down? It is the stuff of epic nightmares, right? Am I qualified to do it?
You are
answer
not.
is absolute
Absolutely
no. Right?
no. Absolutely no. So
no.
that is
Okay.
what is missing. The missing part is somebody to analyze and provide you some information. There are people who are looking at that problem and trying to solve that problem. That problem now with the
Or it could
marrying
be
it
a
up.
fad that everybody wants to cash into, because that is one of the greater problems. Last and most important question
Sure.
for you. For you, which are the red flags from all of these?
So for me,
Biggest one.
The biggest one is that the use case has to be perfected and meaningful information should come to you. Once that happens, right, the rest of the things are getting in place, because in any case, it's not just the millions of dollars which are going into the wearable tech, but it's also the millions, trillions rather, which are going to the smartphone, which is aiding it. So it's basically boils down to the fact that the functionality in the use case has to be perfect.
All right, great. So you still seem to be an advocate for the fact that in the future we'll tackle it and we'll get it right. Thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you. Thank you.
So there it is then, the hottest piece of technology, wearable tech, and within that category, biosensor wearable technology. Once again, the picture painted, of course, is that it's on its way, about to get there. In the future, if it does happen, then remember that saying will change dramatically. It's not an apple a day that will keep the doctor away. It's a wearable tech device a day that will only ask the doctor to come to you one day when you really need it. We'll see you next week on the show. Thank you very much.
Thanks.